I says, oh, I says, you were wrong about that. He says, why? I says, it's your lucky day that you're not going to give me a ticket. And he just looked at me, he shook his head like this and he walked away. But I didn't get violent with the guy, you know, I was nice to him, and I just attacked each thing with procedure. And that's how we're going to get everybody, is on procedure. Now, I don't know how much time we have. I have a whole bunch here on the jurisdictionary. I went through the course and wrote down a bunch of stuff. But it's pretty time consuming. I'd like to do that with a group. An hour? One more hour?
No, what are the questions?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay. Who's got questions?
Just want to hear him talk.
Keep talking.
Okay.
I'm overwhelmed.
By what?
What you're saying, I'm overwhelmed.
It works.
Yeah.
It works, you know, and I've been stopped I don't know how many times. And I have not given them my license or anything, and I've said the same thing to the state police officers, and they say, no, you're right, if you're not in commerce, you don't need a license. They know this. They know it. And when somebody knows it, they don't mess with you. If you're not a threat. I'm not a threat to anybody.
I think we got a question here.
Yeah.
My question is more about their tendency only to pick upon the people who appear to be weak and ignorant and unaware of these things. What is it that those people who haven't already studied this material thoroughly can do to get themselves out of these situations?
Study.
Just study.
Study, get on board with us, get with a group, get with people that know what's going on, and just sit down and let the Spirit fill their bodies and open up their eyes and their ears to accept truth. The problem is with the people, they're afraid to admit they're wrong. They're afraid to admit that other people have an answer and they don't have it. And so they continue to follow the leader, do what their neighbors are doing, and everybody just seems to dedicated follower of fashion. But we got to get people to get involved with us. You know, we can't act like idiots. We can't act like criminals or belligerent. And
You gotta be respectful.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, we're here to help everybody, not just people here in the group, but the people outside. You know, if there's something that we can do to help, Mike's that way, I know Rob is that way, everybody in the group. And everything I have is not mine. It all belongs to the Lord, you know, and it's for to share with other people. And I'm ready and willing to share with anybody that needs the help or wants to learn. And the more people we get to learn and study, the better off we're going to be. Bar grievances, you want to
Yeah,
add,
a little
Rob?
closer to the mic too, if you would.
Pardon
A
me?
little closer to the mic, if you would too.
How if I get the mic closer to me?
Either way.
Okay. Bar grievances. When an attorney does not perform the way you specify, or the way jurisdictionary talks how you must hold him accountable to the law to represent you, or whether it's an attorney coming after you on the other side, there's a code of ethics that they have to follow. And we need to know these laws. Even though they don't apply to us, we need to know what they are so that we can hold them accountable. When we have a complaint against an attorney, whether your attorney never did what he agreed to do for you, you can file a bar grievance against him, or maybe 2 or maybe 3. If you have more than 1, do not combine them. Do each one separate, like a separate complaint. By using the jurisdictionary format, you will know how to put a complaint together, and it's basically the same as a regular complaint, a criminal complaint, or a violation of the rules of conduct that they are required to withhold. And you're filing a complaint with him, and you'll need, if you can get it, is you put your case number down, the time and the date, the place where it happened, the case number, and a short description of what the attorney did, what the lawyer did that is in violation of the code of ethics. And you sign it, and you don't even have to have it notarized or anything. And you put it in an envelope and you send it to the bar. I didn't bring the address. I have the address at home on one of my flash drives, because I file quite a few bar grievances against attorneys. And you would put, we'll say there's 5 complete complaints. You do each one separate and put each one in an envelope separate. And they recommend that you don't send them all the same day. Send one today, a couple days you send another one, a couple days you send another one, until you get them all sent in. So they come in at different times. And when they start seeing a bunch of complaints come in, now they're going to probably throw them out. But regardless, every time a complaint comes in against an attorney, the attorney's insurance company has to be told whether they throw them out or not. Now, we'll say, I go into court with you, and we'll say, he wants to go, and Mike wants to go, and Rob. So now we're with you in the peanut gallery or whatever, and we see these complaints, we see these violations that these guys are doing. We also can file complaints. I can file because we're similarly situated. In other words, it very well could be me up there, and tomorrow it might be. And now if this attorney is violating you, he may be violating me tomorrow. So now because I'm similarly situated, I have the right to also file my 5 complaints against him. And so does Dan, and so does Mike, and so does Rob. So what's this insurance company going to do to this guy when he's got 5 different people filing 5 different complaints against him? What happens with your insurance company when somebody files a complaint that you bumped into their car?
Premiums go up.
How many times will they do that before they shut you off?
Not many.
Exactly. Now these guys have like 3 or 4 different kinds of bonds. They have a liability bond, they have a malpractice bond, they have property bonds, they have all kinds of stuff to protect them. And when they start getting complaints against them, they're a bad risk. They're a real bad risk. So a judge also is one to whom we have to hold to a very high standard. And if he's operating without jurisdiction, and we'll say that the attorney is working with the judge to further the fact that they're operating without jurisdiction, and you challenge jurisdiction, and they fail to prove jurisdiction, and they just roll over you, now you have a conspiracy. And by them being in a conspiracy, we file charges against the judge as well. Not only the attorney, but the judge. Now the judge complaint does not go to the bar, even though he's a lawyer. A judge complaint will go to the judicial district, which is separate from the bar. If 2 complaints, 2 people, let's see if I get this correct, I think it's 2 people file complaints against the judge, he gets disbarred?
No. 3 moved to the bench, I believe.
It takes 3?
3 removed.
Okay, three people, even in one instance, if they file a complaint against the judge, he can be disbarred, or he can be removed from office. Once he gets removed from office, he's no longer a judge. He loses his retirement. He loses his pension, everything, his salary. And if he did it bad enough, you can make him pay it all back. Which they should do. So these guys, they think they're on cloud 9, but the cloud is getting pretty heavy. And it's ready to start raining down on them. And the people are wising up and figuring out, wait a minute guys, how can I be responsible for all these laws and all these codes and regulations? I don't even know what they are for. How does it apply to me? Now when they make these laws, people say, how does the legislature make all these laws? Well, Rod explained it the other night. And they went to the legislature, and the legislature says, we don't have time to make all these codes and rules and regulations and statutes for you guys. So we're going to give you the authority to make your own. So then Mike Miracle talked about how in Buffalo they use, I think it was the commissioners, what was that? The Common Council. So the Common Council, through the legislature authority, is able to make rules and codes and statutes. But those rules and statutes and regulations are not for us. We're not part of that. We're not part of them. We're not involved in the government. So those rules don't apply to us. Either we're a part of it or we're not. Can Walmart come in here, barging in here, tell us we all got to put on blue vests that say, welcome to Walmart? I don't think so. We're not part of Walmart. So the authority that they have is limited to what they're doing. And one of the things that verifies that is the 11th Amendment. Because they have no power powers not to be construed in anything in law or equity against the people. So we have to hold their feet to the fire. So then they turn around and they say, well, this isn't law or equity, this is administrative. Oh, okay, thank you very much. That's what I wanted to hear. I'm glad this is administrative then. Are you aware that administrative, I can only be brought in as a plaintiff, not a defendant? And that comes under the Administrative Procedures Act. And it goes back to a bunch of laws that were previously decided. In fact, it'd be a good time to go through those. Starting out with the administrative side is an argument that can be brought up in the courtroom. In administrative, you must be the plaintiff and they cannot bring you in as a defendant. The law says they must have an oath of office. The law says they must have a bond. Look at qualifications and violations of agency law and procedure. Okay, the problem we have is the court is holding you and I to the administrative rules as defined by the administration. We must object, immediately object. It's a battle of knowledge, knowing the law, knowing procedure, and be able to rebut any issue brought against us by the plaintiffs. Be able to show the violation of the agency, that is the agreement, the way the law is written, the foundation. Let the state or attorney general show me the error in the laws as they were written. Otherwise, you have to follow the law, Judge. Where does it apply to me? They don't apply to us. They can't apply to us. There are so many agencies, Congress is unable to make all the laws that they enforce and regulate. Administrations. Congress gave these agencies, administrations, authority to make laws and rules pertaining to them on how they are to operate. Nothing to do with you or I. Example, under regulation of the police department, we'll say they made a law for a bulletproof vest and guns and their bullets, and it's inadequate, so Congress allows them to bypass Congress and make their own rules to declare what kind of shields they want to have and what kind of bullets.